Oh, hello everyone. It's another absolutely beautiful day out here. You know, I just can't believe this weather in March. Reminds me a lot of the weather we had there about 2 years ago when we had the, record-breaking temperatures in the spring, and it was hotter than this then. Actually, it was like 30 degrees. That was crazy. Anyway, yes, I finally gave in and did it. I cleaned out this middle raised bed this morning and I got it planted. Worst case scenario, I have to replant it. Best case, I get an early crop, which is fine with me. So I put in green onions and radishes and spinach and turnips in here. And I gotta water it there in a little while. And hopefully they'll do okay. I have some frost covers I can put on if we get some colder weather. And they're saying in about the end of next week, or the end of this week I should say, we might get lower temperatures. There's not a whole lot new in the greenhouse, other than I've been planting some more. Onions are still doing good. They were enjoying being out here. It's almost 40 degrees in here, even with the windows and doors open. The paste tomatoes are starting to get their first set of true leaves on them. Down here, the sweet bell peppers that I started, these aren't the mini bells, they're the larger one. They're starting to come up here. There's a couple of pots. This one here, and that one back there. So I'm really happy to see these are starting to come up. No signs from the mini bells yet. So the other day I planted some delphiniums. I wanted to get my flower border started again. And some of the Cape gooseberries. What do we got over here? Some dwarf navigator flowers and some lupins. And over here we've got lettuce and rosemary, and I think I've got parsley and thyme and catnip back there. The cats last year, you remember I started a lot of herbs, and don't let anybody fool you. Cats will go after fresh catnip. It does not have to be dried to make them go crazy. I came out one morning and our barn cats were rolling all over the top of my herb flat that I had set up by the house to harden off, and they had killed all my herbs. So they didn't get any more catnip that year. I have to remember not to leave it too low to the ground this year. Oh, these ones. These are frankenpeppers from Ray. Thank you again, Ray, for sending these seeds. I just planted these yesterday, so hopefully in the next week they'll be popping up, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they turn into. I can't remember, but I think you said that they were a little bit spicy, so my hubby will just love that because he loves hot peppers. These are starting to dry out. I gotta go water them again. It's unbelievable. Look at the lilacs budding. You can see the flower buds in here too. They'll be opening very soon. I know we've been worrying about our fruit trees. The cherry tree's budding as well. The apples haven't started too much yet, thankfully, but if we get a good hard frost there in April or early May, which is very possible, it could really damage the buds and we might not get much fruit this year. I know some of the other farmers are worried about the same thing. But hopefully, hopefully the trees will do okay. Now, we've been talking about what we're going to be doing in the gardens this year. This main long one here, we're going to put our potatoes in this year. and I'm going to be doing most of my other stuff in the plot out front on the other side of the greenhouse. We've had potatoes in that one for 2 years in a row now, so it's time to move them. And this one here, I think I'm going to do some of the squash, the zucchini that really likes to ramble a lot. I'm going to try that in this section. I've of course got the strawberries up on the other side. And they're actually starting to grow just a little bit, so looks like they survived the winter just fine, even though we didn't have a lot of snow cover. Oh, I'm looking forward to May when I can really start planting everything out. You know, I'm watching all these videos from all our southern friends who are planting already, and you guys are so lucky to have such a wonderful growing climate. So while I'm walking around and talking about the gardens, somebody sent us a link a couple weeks ago to a documentary called Back to Eden. And we watched it, and it's an absolutely wonderful garden documentary. And if you haven't seen it, I'll really encourage you guys to check it out, and I'll put the link in the comment section below, or the description section below. And basically, it's a fella that uses a very deep mulch system, and his gardens are to the point where he pretty much does all of his work with a rake and a wheelbarrow for applying compost or shavings and weeding. And I've been trying to convince hubby for about 12, almost 13 years or so now to use mulch in the gardens, but he just couldn't quite understand what it was that I wanted. And I guess he always thought that you would be taking it off in the fall, tilling it, and then putting it back on, or that you would be tilling it into the soil in the fall. And he always thought, you know, I was going to make a terrible mess in the tiller. Well, he was finally able to see what I meant. You leave it on, and you just keep topping it up every couple of years. And, you know, it creates a wonderful cover that protects your soil from blowing away and drying out. It reduces your weeds, and anyway, I really encourage you to check it out, and we're going to be trying to move our gardens into this method. We're trying to track down sources of wood chips, because that would be what we prefer to use. We'll use straw if we can get it too, but if we could find free wood chips again, you know, that'd be a big help. This is our cherry tree, and you can see the buds starting to open. I did make a video the same day I put up my last one, but it didn't turn out right. I guess I had the settings on the camera wrong, so I didn't bother putting it up. But these buds were still closed then, so they've come quite a long way in just a couple of days. We need to do some pruning on this tree. This side branch really needs to come off because the main trunk split a few years ago. And I would love to get some of the rooting kits and cut some of these branches here off and root them and start some new cherry trees with them before we cut off this one. Anyway, I guess that's all for now, guys. I hope you're all enjoying this wonderful weather. Take care, everyone.